The Silent Sentinel. The Hwasong-18 and Kim Jong Un's shadow strategy. As the world turns its gaze toward escalating conflicts in Eastern Europe and the Middle East, a profound shift in the strategic balance of the Korean peninsula has largely escaped the center stage of global discourse. By early 2026, North Korea has not only solidified its status as a nuclear power, but has achieved a long-coveted milestone: the full operational deployment of the Hwasong-18 intercontinental ballistic missile, ICBM. This development represents the culmination of a decades-long ambition to possess a credible, survivable, and rapid response nuclear deterrent capable of striking the United States mainland. The Hwasong-18 stands as the crown jewel of Pyongyang's strategic arsenal, distinguishing itself from its predecessors through its solid fuel propulsion system. Unlike liquid-fueled missiles, which require time-consuming and dangerous fueling processes immediately prior to launch, the Hwasong-18 comes pre-fueled and canisterized. This technical leap drastically reduces the launch footprint, allowing North Korean forces to roll out and fire the weapon in a matter of minutes. For military planners in Washington and Seoul, this capability virtually eliminates the window of opportunity for a preemptive strike, fundamentally altering the deterrence equation. The journey to full deployment was remarkably rapid, signaling a newfound maturity in North Korean military engineering. Following its initial unveiling in early 2023, the missile underwent a series of high-profile tests that were initially dismissed by some observers as mere posturing. However, the successful launching drill of December 2023 marked the transition from experimental prototype to combat-ready asset. By 2025, intelligence assessments confirmed that these units were not only operational, but were being integrated into the regular rotation of the Korean People's Army Strategic Force, complete with hardened silos and mobile transporter erector launchers, TELs. Technically, the Hwasong-18 is a beast of burden, boasting an estimated range of 15,000 kilometers. This places the entire continental United States, from San Francisco to Washington, D.C., firmly within its crosshairs. More concerning is the missile's potential payload capacity. Analysts fear it is designed to carry multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicles, MIRVs. If fully realized, a single Hwasong-18 could overwhelm U.S. missile defense systems like the Ground-Based Midcourse Defense, GMD, by raining down multiple warheads, or decoys, simultaneously. The strategic genius of Kim Jong Un in this era, however, lies not just in the hardware, but in the timing and context of its deployment. He has adopted a strategy of flying under the radar, a paradoxical approach where he advances his most dangerous capabilities while the world is distracted. While North Korea has historically relied on cycle of provocation tactics to demand attention and aid, the regime has recently shifted gears. Kim has realized that in a world saturated with crisis, silence, or rather, steady, quiet advancement can be more effective than bluster. This shadow strategy is heavily facilitated by the current geopolitical fracture, specifically the war in Ukraine. The deepening alignment between Pyongyang and Moscow has provided Kim with a diplomatic shield at the United Nations Security Council, effectively neutering the international sanctions regime. In exchange for artillery shells and ballistic missiles supplied to the Russian war effort, North Korea has likely received advanced telemetry, materials, and technical advice that accelerated the Hwasong-18's reliability. Kim is no longer a pariah begging for relief. He is a key partner in a revisionist axis. Simultaneously, North Korea has utilized this period to repair its economic lifeline with China. By 2025, trade volumes between the two nations had rebounded to pre-pandemic levels. This economic stabilization has reduced the internal pressure on the Kim regime, allowing him to channel resources into the 20-by-10 regional development policy. By projecting an image of internal stability and economic focus, Kim distracts external observers from the feverish pace of his nuclear militarization. The diversification of the North Korean threat further complicates the picture. While the Hwasong-18 garners the headlines in defense journals, it is merely the tip of the spear. The regime has quietly operationalized a suite of complementary systems, including Behail nuclear-capable underwater drones and hypersonic glide vehicles. This tactical diversity ensures that the Hwasong-18 is not a lonely asset, but part of a layered, redundant offensive capability that is increasingly difficult to decapitate. The international response to this quiet expansion has been muted, largely due to bandwidth exhaustion. The United States, heavily committed to supporting Ukraine and managing tensions in the Indo-Pacific, has settled for a policy of containment rather than rollback. Washington has strengthened the trilateral security pact with Tokyo and Seoul, increasing the frequency of joint exercises. Yet, without a viable diplomatic off-ramp or the appetite for military confrontation, these measures have done little to slow the physical deployment of the solid-fuel ICBMs. Furthermore, the normalization of North Korea's nuclear status has set in. There is a palpable sense of fatigue in the international community. Missile launches that once triggered emergency UN meetings now barely register as breaking news. Kim Jong Un has successfully leveraged this desensitization. By making the testing and deployment of doomsday weapons feel routine, he has reduced the political cost of expanding his arsenal. The implications of this successful deployment are grave for global non-proliferation. Kim Jong Un has proven that a rogue state can withstand maximum pressure silent campaigns sentinel and emerge on the other side as a Kim Jong Un's shadow strategy. As the world turns its gaze toward other conflicts in Eastern Europe, suggesting that if one can simply wait out the strategic balance of the Korean Peninsula, the prize of nuclear sovereignty is attainable. Moreover, the Hwasong-18's deployment introduces a dangerous new dynamic of launch on warning. Because solid-fuel missiles are valuable targets that can be fired quickly, there is a risk that North Korean doctrine will shift toward aggressive, hair-trigger release protocols during a crisis. The fear of losing these assets in a first strike might compel local commanders to launch them at the first sign of aggression, significantly lowering the threshold for nuclear war. Kim's current posture also hints at a long-term goal of decoupling the U.S. from its Asian allies. By holding the American homeland at credible risk with the Hwasong-18, Pyongyang aims to sow doubt in Seoul and Tokyo. Would Washington truly trade Los Angeles for Seoul in the event of a conflict? The flying under the radar strategy has allowed this wedge to be driven deeper without precipitating an immediate crisis that would rally the alliance. As 2026 unfolds, the world faces a North Korea that is no longer developing a deterrent but maintaining one. The era of negotiating away Kim's nukes is likely over. The Hwasong-18 is dug in, deployed, and ready. The regime has successfully navigated the perilous waters of development and testing to arrive at a shore of established nuclear capability. Ultimately, Kim Jong Un's strategy has been a masterclass in opportunistic geopolitics. By exploiting great power competition and global distraction, he has secured the ultimate insurance policy for his dynasty. The Hwasong-18 is not just a missile. It is a monolith to the failure of international containment and a silent, brooding sentinel that ensures the Kim regime can no longer be ignored, even if it chooses to remain quiet.